I'll tell you, this is a wonderful day. I don't know about y'all, but if you haven't been through the zoo yet, you've got a tremendous treat in store for you.
25 years is a milestone. I mean, this is something huge. In '93, when the zoo opened, who would have thought that we'd come this far? And it's really a big plus to the residents of McLennan County to have the foresight in 1988 to pass a bond to actually bring the zoo to Cameron Park. And from that standpoint, you know, we've really never looked back. We just keep plugging away and trying to create the best zoo we possibly can. And it's all thanks to our citizens. You know, they have really been supportive for us over the years, and it's an amazing thing when you think back about 25 years. In 1988, the zoo worked really hard, the Zoo Society and zoo staff worked hard to pass a bond to actually move the zoo from out by the airport down here into 52 acres of Cameron Park. To bring the zoo to Cameron Park was a big deal. There were some issues with whether or not the zoo could be in the park itself. I think that was a mainstay, but we were also selling an idea. We had to convince people that, you know, it was sort of like in Field of Dreams, if we build it, they will come. And there was a lot of doubt about what was called at that point in time a natural habitat zoo. What would its function be in the neighborhood? What would the relationship be with Pecan Bottoms in the park? You know, would it really work being down along the river? And I think those were the biggest roadblocks, was just trying to sell that dream to some folks. And then they spent the next several years from '88 to '92 designing and trying to get everything fit, and it was a $9.6 million bond.
Cameron Park Zoo started construction in 1992 in the spring, and so we were kind of winding down the Central Texas Zoo and preparing for the new Cameron Park Zoo. So for several months there I had 2 zoos to run, and we moved some of the animals here, but some other of the animals went to facilities around the country.
I think that one of the things that I remember most about the groundbreaking of the zoo, we had quite a large crowd, and everybody was so excited when the bond passed and we were actually going to start construction on this wonderful facility. And then I don't think that anyone ever really realized the impact it would have on the community, how much it would change this neighborhood, and how much it would grow over the years.
When the zoo was first designed, there were 2 different designs. One design had the zoo entrance off of Herring, and then somehow they changed architects, and we have the current floor plan that we have now. But the design of having the loop system makes it very convenient for construction.
As far as the layout and the development of Cameron Park Zoo itself, we tried to design the facility to where it kind of fit into niches so it looked like it had been here forever. We tried to do the least human impact that we could. For example, our parking lot was already a public parking lot for parks and recreation facilities. Most of our primary paths throughout the zoo were public streets where people could drive in off of 4th Street and end up down on University Parks. Our African area where elephants, rhino, and giraffe are, many years ago, back in 1915 or so, had been marching fields for Camp MacArthur, which spread all the way from Cameron Park Zoo all the way up to way up on North 19th Street near Park Lake. So we developed the zoo around areas that had already been developed by humans and impacted by humans. And I think that's one of the features that was so important to make this a really natural zoo. Our lake, our Gibbon Lake, or Green Lake, which it had been called for many, many decades, was pretty much dry. We refurbished the lake and made it live again. We originally built Gibbon Island, which was our first exhibit as you walk into the zoo. First exhibit that we opened in 1993. But then later on we raised funds and developed Lemur Island on the opposite end of the lake with a large waterfall a lot of native plants. And so I think we have one of the more beautiful sites of any zoo in the United States. Very proud of it.
We opened the zoo with about 56 animals. We wanted to emphasize quality over quantity. We wanted the animals to have beautiful habitats, natural habitats, and slowly grow the zoo to a world-class facility, and it worked.
When the animals started arriving here at the Cameron Park Zoo, it was really interesting. It was kind of like unloading the velociraptors in Jurassic Park, because we had these huge crates coming in with white rhinoceros. Of course, we had moved Timbo the elephant over from the Central Texas Zoo, an 8-mile move in a large semi-truck. There's only about 2 people in the entire United States that are equipped to move elephants. Elephants are really not travel savvy, and so it's an interesting process to relocate the animals. And then Timbo the elephant was kind of spoiled from being around people so many years, and so we ended up having to spend the night with her for about 2 months to make sure she got accustomed to ambulances and other emergency equipment that was going down 4th Street just adjacent to her barn. And we were moving animals in all around the zoo. We moved in the giraffe, which also interesting, transporting giraffe because they were so tall. We try to move giraffe before they're much more than 1 year old. At a year old, they're about 10 feet in height, and giraffes will not bend over for overpasses, so you really have to have special equipment, trailers and so forth. So we try to move the giraffes before they get really, really too large.
Okay, we're rolling. Rolling? Johnny, here we are less than 48 hours before the zoo opens. What are you feeling inside right now?
Very excited and very proud. We've been very fortunate. Had lots of good luck with good weather, and we've had so much community input, and everyone seems to be real excited. The animals are acclimating real well, and they seem to all be ready for the opening. We're doing lots of last-minute stuff, adding plants and making sure all the water features are full and clear and clean and all of that type of stuff. There's just lots of activity and lots of excitement, and we anticipate a wonderful crowd on Sunday when we open.
To be here today at the opening of our new zoo is really just a beginning. The new zoo is fully constructed. It's taken some 15 months for actual construction, but it is only the beginning, because our zoo will grow and become better certainly every year. And the foundation laid by McLennan County and the commissioners and their hard work, the City of Waco and the Society has certainly assured this. The opening of a new zoo in the United States, a totally natural habitat zoo, by the way, is very rare. There's only been a few new zoos built since World War II. And all of us, all the volunteers, the zoo staff, we're just so fortunate to be a part of history being made. This just doesn't happen every day.
It's a joint program. There's been a lot of people way before Jim Lewis ever thought about a zoo. They did all the work and held this thing together. They've been the glue of the project, and we've still got to have all these people. But what's really amazed me since I've been sitting here for about 45 minutes is watching the steady stream of people going into the zoo. And that's what's going to make this zoo today, that's what's going to make it tomorrow, and that's what's going to make it for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. On behalf of the county, we're proud of it. We want to see it grow, and we think it's not only an asset to Waco, it's an asset to McLennan County and to the whole Central Texas area.
Over the years, we've really pushed the bar up on what we were going to create to try to be the best we could. The Herpetarium opened in 1997. It is still today one of the best herpetariums in the country. Some of the innovations that were put into that, misting systems, having the safety that goes in when working venomous reptiles is still in play today. Portions of the display area are used in other zoos. There have been several people that have come from around the country just to look at our herpetarium and look at our facility to see what they can build at their facility.
Johnny Binder and I helped to design that building. We actually drew the initial concept on cocktail napkins at Red Lobster. It's, I think, one of the most beautiful in the country, and might be a little biased, but it has some wonderful animals in it. It always has. And it's very progressive. We keep changing it, and it's a building that was meant to be changed. that different animals can thrive in the various habitats.
The residents decided to pass a second bond to double the size of the zoo, and it really allowed the zoo team to look at what we could be. And I think we did a fantastic job with Brazos River Country, being able to create 2 different aquariums and bring that many animals into the zoo for everybody to see, just to kind of grow the zoo.
Back in '05, when we opened the Brazos River Country exhibit, Terry Cox had gotten with Parks and Wildlife and Fish and Game departments in Louisiana and other southern states because of Hurricanes Rita and Katrina and Ike. There were many birds that had been injured due to the high winds and storms, and so these animals were going to be euthanized because they really had no place to go. It worked out as perfect timing for us because we really needed those species to go in a large 20,000 plus square foot open flight aviary. So we were able to bring those birds in and use them as ambassadors for their species, but kind of cool, they have bred in captivity and their offspring have went back to be released back into the wild.
That one was a huge challenge and a lot of fun because we were branching into marine aquariums and freshwater aquariums, and we reached out to our colleagues in the field in different aquariums and got advice and asked them to review our plans as the plans developed. And it was always so rewarding when you walked in and so much had been done over the week as we sometimes you didn't even notice how much was being done, and then Monday morning you'd come back and the exhibit looks so real. And I remember vividly filling the marine aquarium for the first time and thinking what an impact this was going to have on Waco, because they'd never had a marine aquarium, 50,000-gallon marine aquarium before. And I was right, people love it. Design is one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite aspects when you're coming up with a concept of a new exhibit, something that's going to be wonderful for the animals to live in. It's going to teach the people that come to the zoo. People are going to want to come back to see it again. Those are kind of the things that you look at when you're designing the exhibit. You want to look at how it will hold up through animal husbandry and the daily care that we give the animals. And so it's always a really fun phase to go visit a lot of different zoos and see what works for them and what doesn't, and then come back and put your own spin on it. After the Brazos River Country opened, part of that bond was to build the Brazos River Country, but also to bring orangutans to Cameron Park Zoo. We really wanted a great ape species, and we felt like orangutans would be the perfect fit here. Our general curator had worked in Indonesia with tigers, and there's a specific site where our tiger exhibit is, and now our orangutan exhibit is, that he felt like looked so much like the jungles of Indonesia that he had traveled through. And so we did build our Asian forest habitat for orangutans and Komodo dragons. That probably has made one of the most significant impacts to our reputation worldwide. Cameron Park Zoo is one of the foremost leaders in cardio health for orangutans, and we actually host workshops each year to help train other zoo professionals on how to train their animals for voluntary cardio health care procedures. So our animals are trained for blood cuff, blood pressure readings, finger blood pressure readings, voluntary blood draws, echocardiograms, you name it, and we can ask our animals to do it voluntarily. And we're really the only ones that have all four or all of our adult orangutans trained for these procedures.
Our orangutan and primate department is probably one of the best in the world, in my opinion. Some of the innovations we've done in a short amount of time, getting all four of our animals to present their arms for blood draws, being able to develop blood pressure cuffs for female orangutans and chimps, just some of the cardiac health that we do is amazing. We're one of two institutions that have that capability with our primates. There's a huge amount of trust that's gone in, and our primate staff are just rock stars. Now we've diversified our collection over the years and really grown that to an international program. Our aquatic staff are just doing fantastic work. We've created dive programs, and we've really become a full circle zoo now. It's just not, just a few smattering of animals. Our collection is just under 1,600 animals.
The entire time that I was at Central Texas Zoo, we were planning on doing something bigger and better, building a natural habitat facility, hopefully at that time in Cameron Park, that not only would teach conservation, but actually get involved with global conservation. And wow, had no idea what was going to happen. The Cameron Park Zoo won global notoriety and recognition for exhibit design, conservation of species, and as well as training animals for behaviors to help improve not only our animal health, but animal health around the world. So the Cameron Park Zoo has come such a long way. I'm very, very proud of it. Terry Cox and I, the other animal curator, have been involved in conservation efforts around the world. We've worked in South America on the island of Trinidad with reptile and several different programs there. We've worked throughout central Mexico and the West Indies.
We continue to add smaller exhibits every year. We continue to add different animals and to breed species when we are recommended to breed by the Species Survival Plan. As an AZA accredited institution and an institution that is a member of the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums, we have definitely made our mark in the conservation community and in the animal industry in general, and I see us growing bigger and better every day. When you visit the zoo, we hope that not only do you love the beautiful natural environment all around you and you enjoy the animals, but you learn that there's something that needs to be protected. There's something that we need to hold on to and hold dear. Many of the animals that are here at the zoo probably won't exist in the wild in another 10 to 20 years. So zoos are those animals' last hope, their ark, if you will. Cameron Park Zoo would not be as successful as it is without the community support over the years. We have raised several $million in private funds through generous donations from our supporters, as well as from people attending special events at Cameron Park Zoo. We still do Kids Jubilee, and it is still a huge event and a lot of fun for over 800 children that attend it every year. But now we also offer a lot of other adult events throughout the year.
We brought in several other events, several smaller events that would have an impact, sort of like the beer tasting event, Brew at the Zoo. Grapes with the Apes, we pretty much do every other year, which is a seated dinner, and tried to make those smaller events just a little bit special.
The beauty and quality of the Cameron Park Zoo, I think, is a great testimony to the community support from the county and the city and all of the folks that live here. It always makes me very proud when people walk in our gates and go, wow, I didn't realize this quality of zoo was in Waco or in a town this small. But actually Waco is developing in all of the areas, so I think the zoo is one of those. And something else that's very special to me is when I walk out into our parking lot and there are school buses lining our entire parking area as well as our overflow parking.
One of the things that happens when you come to the Cameron Park Zoo is we ask you for your zip code. And the reason we ask that is we're trying to figure out how far someone traveled to come to Cameron Park Zoo. The Texas Department of Transportation's Tourism Division assigns a value based off that distance. And so when we ask you your zip code, we're trying to determine what our economic impact is in the community. And so we can take those numbers that travel outside of McLennan County and place that value on it. And in last year, those out-of-county visitors generated $15 million into our local economy. And I think that's a critical number to know. From an investment standpoint, the city commits and has committed in the past roughly $2 million out of the general fund, and that investment gives back $15 million. And I just think that's a critical number to show some of the value of having a zoo in a community.
It's a tremendous honor to have been a part of this facility for 25 years and to have watched it from its conception to what it has developed into today. And I hope to be here many more years watching it grow.
I think one of my favorite things, elements of the Cameron Park Zoo, is the community support. The community support has been phenomenal. Of course, we had the help of the city of Waco and McLennan County to help get the zoo here on the ground. And so we started with about 57 animals and now have grown that to over 2,000, which represents mammals, birds, reptiles, invertebrates, and fish. And so we've grown to quite a large collection, and I think we're so lucky to have this beautiful site. We have a rolling terrain with many water features. We have state record trees. We have lots of a variety of plants that kind of help give you the feel that you're out into the actual areas where these animals call home. I gotta say, it's really touching and really special to see where the zoo started and where the zoo is now and the future that we're looking forward to.